What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's episode of Burn the Ships. We have Stella Koufalis with us today. Stella, what's going on?
Nothing. What's going on? I'm here to tell my story of how I started in Port St. Lucie, a food truck, and then
hmm
turned it into two brick and mortars. Started from basically nothing and got where I am.
I
Um,
love it.
so I moved down to Florida. I'm originally from Astoria, New York.
hmm
Um, Born and raised. I moved down to Florida in 2014.
Okay.
I started a food truck then. I saw there was no Greek food in Port St. Lucie. That's where the Mets spring train.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, let me try bringing some good Greek food to Port St. Lucie.
So,
Um,
what makes your Greek food the good Greek food? What's your culinary experiences before you decided to open up a food truck?
I've been in the restaurant business all my life.
Okay.
Started from washing dishes, doing everything,
uh
front of the house, back of the house, everything.
Yeah.
I just took generational recipes and
hmm
brought it to them. That was it.
Yeah.
I put a twist on them after.
Okay. Like what?
So we were on the Food Network for our Greek wontons, which is called gyropitaki. So
Okay.
we actually took egg roll wrappers. We stuffed it with lamb beef, goat cheese, and chives, and we deep fried them.
That sounds good.
And we have a tzatziki sauce as your dipping sauce.
hmm
And we actually won Best Bite in Town for Port St. Lucie. Guy Fieri's show, his new one of his new shows that he was
Mm.
doing. Um, and we won the Best Bite in Port St. Lucie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. I remember when I saw your inquiry to come on the show. You wrote me. I've had people writing on there a couple little like random inquiries like I'm good at this or I'm good at that. I'm like, you're giving me no sustenance here. You wrote me an essay. I had an essay. I'm like, oh my God. I can't wait to have her on because you had me excited to reach out to get the story going.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
No, absolutely. And man, those generational recipes are what are making you separating you rather from all the other competition. Because everybody can make the same standard Greek recipes. As far to be honest, I don't know a lot of Greek recipes, but in terms of like Italian, everybody can make spaghetti meatballs, right?
Of
But when
course.
you're making a special bolognese sauce or a special something or other, that's what separates you.
Well,
So what would you say your what was that?
that's what we try. Like
Yeah.
we try to be, we also try to be different. We try to like bring make it Americanized sometimes. We'll
hmm
do like a twist on it. Like we have a Greek nachos.
Okay.
So we use spicy feta as the
hmm
spiciness on the nachos. We do plays on different so people could understand that, some people think that Greek food is exotic. It's not.
Right.
It's just regular food. It's just
Yeah.
the ingredients are a little different and that's about it.
hmm
So, what would you were going to ask me a question. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
Oh. So what would you say your specialty dish is? Has it changed since the food cart to the restaurants, or there's been one staple for you that you always say, like, you guys got to try blank?
You would have to try my mom's spanakopita.
Okay.
Okay. Growing up, my mom would make it cheesy. If you go
hmm
and get spanakopita from other places, it's more spinachy. Ours is more
hmm
cheesy. She did it
Okay.
so we could eat spanakopita as kids because, spinach, we didn't want to eat our vegetables. So she would make it more cheesy. And
hmm
everybody loves that about our spanakopita because it's nice and creamy and it's different than everybody else's, basically. We
Yeah.
use fresh ingredients. We try not to cut corners in any way.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. So, how long did you have the food truck, or what were you doing before the food truck? Rather, let's go into that because
well, I was in New
what?
York serving
hmm
tables before the food
Okay.
truck.
But
Uh,
what made you pull the trigger on it and say, I'm going to do my own thing?
oh, well, I came down here on a vacation, and I was like,
hmm
okay, I wanted to have a house, buy a house, and in New York, it
Right.
was way too expensive back then,
Uh-huh.
and still now. And
Yeah.
I went to one of those food truck events, and
hmm
I saw that there was no Greek food. And I saw that the lack of Greek food, there was one restaurant here in Port St. Lucie that was serving Greek food. And I'm like, and I heard that, it wasn't, it wasn't real. It was
Yeah.
this, that. And I'm like, I could do this. This is,
Yeah.
and that's how I found a food truck. It was the little engine that took us all over Florida. It broke
Yeah.
down a couple of times, but we got it to work.
Uh-huh.
And that was that. And then I just started the food truck.
I love it. But I'm more talking about the mentality of it, because you decided to, instead of continuing to work for another restaurant, you burned the ships, right? Which is why the show is called Burn the Ships. And you said, I'm going to bet on myself, open up my own thing, because people don't just see that there's one restaurant in an area or one store and say, I'm going to make one too. It's a thought process. It's a devotion to your craft and saying, you know what? I believe that I can do this, and I'm going to make that gamble.
Well, all my life, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to work for myself. I never wanted to just like work for somebody, or else I would have had a corporate job. I would have done something along those lines. But being in the restaurant business and seeing, like, my father was an entrepreneur. My uncles, was a lot. And then I have my uncles that are in corporate and, do it. But I just never had that will of just sitting in the office, and I wanted to be around people, and I like the restaurant business. I like the hustle. I like the fast pace of it. Don't get me wrong, it's a roller coaster ride.
Oh, of course.
One day
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
good, one day it's bad, and then you're just like, one day
Yeah.
you're like, why did I do this to myself? And then the next day you're very excited and you're happy. Just like when I got that invite from the Food Network to be on their show, that was
Yeah.
one of the greatest honors you could ever have. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
So how did that come about?
Well, we got a random email. I was actually driving back from Disney, and I got a random email saying, we're doing this new show and we're looking for new restaurants. Can you fill out this information and blah, blah, blah. We saw your restaurant. We want, and I thought it was scam. I thought it was not real, or,
Yeah, it
Then
sounds it.
Then I looked up the email and I looked up the production company. I'm like, this is real. This is this. So I sent emails back and we got chosen for it. And then, they filmed and there was a whole competition, and I'm really happy that I got it.
Absolutely. How many competitors did you go against?
We went against 6 restaurants. So we started, the whole thing started at 18 restaurants. This is what the production company told me. It was 18 restaurants, and they narrowed it down to 6. And then the 6 were showcased on the show. And from the 6, we went to the 3, and then the 3, we won. And that was awesome.
Congratulations, man. That's
Thank
amazing. So you have an interesting version of going into entrepreneurship, because normally the entrepreneur is the black sheep in the family, where everybody's corporate, everybody's working for somebody else. But for you, it was the other way around. You were the black sheep working for somebody else. You saw it around you all the time, and it was really just a matter of time for you to really pull the trigger on it.
Yeah. I just said, oh, let's do it. Let me do it. I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
yeah.
The only thing I had to
Well,
lose was time. That's about it. Yeah, some money, but it was mostly time. And I was like, okay, I have it. Let me just do it.
Yeah, and both of us are going to go regardless anyway.
Yeah.
So that was opening up into the food truck. Now, food truck to a brick and mortar is a big jump.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because I can already see the stress in your eyes.
So when I opened up the restaurant, I actually sold the food truck because my father was ill in New York. So I didn't know if I was going to stay here or I was going to come back to New York. Okay. So unfortunately, my father passed away, and I came back to Florida, and I had sold the food truck. So I had the money, and I was like, I want to continue what I was doing, but I didn't know if I wanted to go back into the food truck. And I took my nephew to get a haircut where the restaurant was that I rented out. It was vacant. I was like, Why is it vacant? Let me call and find out what they're asking for. We worked out all the details, and I got the first restaurant.
Hmm.
And that was that. And I started again from scratch and then redid it
Yeah.
all over again.
So did you sold the rights to the business then too, the food truck?
No. Just sold the food
Okay.
truck, not the business. They
Okay.
didn't want the business.
Okay.
They wanted to do, the person that bought the food truck did a hot dog truck.
Sounds like they should have taken the business.
Well, they didn't.
That's great.
Yeah. So
So how long did you have the one restaurant until you decided to open up a second one?
6 years. I
Nice.
just actually opened up the second one 2 months ago.
Oh wow, so this is recent.
Yeah.
How's it going over there?
It's going good. We're starting again from scratch because it's a different
course.
area in Florida and people have to get to know us. We also have the good thing of people knowing us from Port St. Lucie
Yeah.
and, the advertising of being on the show. And that was a big thing. That's why I was like, okay, let me take advantage of this and
Yeah.
push it through to
Yeah.
the second restaurant. And that's where I am right now.
Okay. So what were some of the biggest struggles that you didn't realize would come about when you opened up the first one?
It wasn't that I didn't realize. I just didn't realize the time is, you got to be there every day, all the time. Like from morning to night. You think you're having a day off, you're not having a day off. Your employees are dictating your days off.
Yeah.
In the beginning it was hard to find employees. Like it was super hard. Like I was cooking on the grill by myself for a good probably 3 years until I actually found somebody to actually cook with me.
Wow.
Then I found another person after, and then they would leave, then it would come. It's just, how a restaurant is a revolving door. And it was just so hard to keep people and to build a team. That's the biggest hurdle that I've found and I'm still dealing with right now, is building a team to stick around and work with me and build with me and continue on. And it's the time. It's not being able to have time sometimes to go on vacation. You're always, even if you're on vacation for 3 days, you go away for a weekend, say. When it's not a weekend, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. You're never going on a weekend. But you're on your phone constantly. Oh, what else should I do here? What should I do there? This happened. How should I take care of it? Or I ran out of this. Can I go get this? Or it was always something. And while working in all the other restaurants, I never saw that. And now I realize that was just behind the scenes. I just never saw it or they just knew it better than I did. I don't know what to. They had already solved the formula. I don't know.
No, there's no magic formula in entrepreneurship. The biggest joke about entrepreneurship is everybody says, because you want to work your own hours, you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I know.
Which is true, and you can go away whenever you want. But the problem is you're not working your own hours, you're working all the hours.
Yep.
We love what we do, but that doesn't take away from the fact that you're working every hour of every day, no matter what. If you don't meet new people anymore, you're networking.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as meeting somebody anymore. It's networking. What can we do? How can we help each other? If you go to a restaurant, you're comparing their cleanliness compared to yours. You're looking at the food. You're peeping in the kitchen. You know what I mean? It's exactly.
That's your homework.
Exactly. I owned a gym for a long time, and I would go to different gyms. And before I owned the place, I would want to go work out just to check out new facilities. I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's a cool machine. But now I'm looking around. I'm like, what do you guys have? Where'd you get that piece? What's that brand?
I do the same thing when I go to a restaurant. I'm always looking at everything.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the decor. I'm looking at their service. I'm looking at the food, the quality, the pricing, everything.
Poaching the employees.
Well, I'm sorry?
Poaching the employees. You get really good service
no, I
somewhere.
didn't poach them yet.
That's the emergency time.
So
what was the competition like for Food Network?
Well, it wasn't like we were with other Greek restaurants. It was just a mix of restaurants. So
Right.
we had a barbecue restaurant. I actually thought the barbecue restaurant was going to beat us, or the ramen
Mhm.
restaurant, because I eat at all the restaurants basically that were on that show.
Mhm.
So, and I knew like the ramen was really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
The barbecue, same thing. Been to the pizzeria, the Cuban place that was on there. Um, there was restaurants that I knew that it was, you had to have something unique
Mhm.
to be able to win, something unique, flavorful. And when I gave them the pitake, the wontons,
Mhm.
uh, they were eating them and they were like, "Oh, this is the best bite. This is gonna be the best bite." And I was, I was happy. They always had a smile. I had a smile on my face because it just validated my work,
Mhm.
and that was that.
So was it a competition where you were all together, or the judges just came around and visited you guys?
When we were doing
Like
the
we're gonna be here, like
oh,
we're gonna
they
be
would
here on
come
a
to our
certain day at the
restaurant. So
restaurant.
it was like a diner,
Okay.
drive-in, and dives type of thing.
Okay.
So I had Chef Joe Stasso from Top Chef.
Okay.
You know, the guy with the mustache. Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever
Yeah.
watched any. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was my mentor slash chef. That he chose what dish he wanted to showcase.
Okay.
So he also had the ramen place. So he had to choose between us and the ramen place to go to the final competition. So I didn't know what he tried at the ramen place, because the ramen place had good wings, had good ramen, and
Okay.
I was just like, okay, I'm giving him my mom's spanakopita and I'm giving him a wonton.
Mhm.
So, but he chose us and
Yeah.
I was ecstatic.
Mhm.
And then from there, we went to a different location where Guy was. Guy Fieri was the one who was he was the director and he was telling everybody what to do and how to do it.
Mhm.
And we were in the town center of Port St. Lucie, and that's where we did the final shot and the final, like the final, not the final shot, just the finals. So there were
Mhm.
three remaining restaurants. So that's when I found out who I was up against after. So I was up against the
Okay.
barbecue place, and then I was up against um, the Jamaican place.
Mhm.
So it was me. So it was Greek, Jamaican, and barbecue.
Okay.
So then I was like, okay, the barbecue comes out with this big platter and giving him, and I'm giving him just a wonton, a small little triangle, and I'm like, oh my god, I
Yeah. What
hope
do they
to
do?
God there's so much flavor in there that they choose us.
Mhm.
And the Jamaican gave him a big plate, and I just gave him one piece because the show was called Best Bite. So I was like, one bite, and that's
Yeah. It
you
makes sense to
choose.
me.
But they were giving him big platters and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, whatever it is now. We're gonna find out, and
Yeah.
it worked out to for us. So I was happy with that.
Absolutely. And just the, I'm gonna say balls. Just the balls. Everybody's bringing out these dishes, and you bring out a singular. Here's the wonton you wanted. Here's the one bite you wanted. Meanwhile, but that's the difference between quality versus quantity.
Yes,
So, is your mother still alive?
yes, my mom is.
So, how did she feel knowing that out of this entire restaurant competition, you decided to pull her recipe to make it happen?
Well, her recipe wasn't what made it happen. Her recipe was one
Okay.
of the recipes that made it happen. That recipe
Okay.
of the wonton I came up with
Oh, the
playing.
spadacopia was
Yeah,
hers.
the spanakopita, that was my mom's.
Right. Right. Okay.
But I did showcase that on national TV, and she was
Yeah.
ecstatic about it because I said it was my mom and stuff like that. And when she was
Yeah.
watching the show, she was happy about it because she
Mm-hmm.
called me up after, and she was like, "Oh, I can't believe you said this and that." Um, but the wonton is, I came up with it because I just was playing around with food, and I was like, okay, let me
Yeah.
come up with something different that nobody has.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're never gonna find a Greek wonton anywhere.
No, of course not. Let alone being
The
the
only
best
place
one
you can
bite.
find it is in Port St. Lucie at my restaurant, or in Stewart at my other restaurant. And I like it because that's the only place you have to come there and find it. Like,
Yeah.
I made it up. I invented it, and that's what It's just a good feeling to do something different than everybody else.
Absolutely. Not just do something different than everybody else, but have it prove to be like, I'm not crazy. This tastes good. It's like, no, you're right. This is good, and it won a competition. Everything. Because meanwhile, you come up with a recipe, you might think it's good, your friends think it's good, but to have the true credibility to say, no, this thing that doesn't make sense, it's actually really good.
I know when you have top chefs and you have Guy
Yeah.
Fieri telling you it's fire,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, oh my God, thank God.
Yeah. Do you want more than one? I can make more.
So
So let's.
go on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. What else are you gonna say?
Oh, I was waiting for a question.
So let's loop it back to the business side of things now, right?
Okay.
So, how is it running the two restaurants instead of the one?
It's hectic. I'm running back and forth. I'm
Yeah.
showing a lot more attention to the new one right now
Right.
because
Of course.
it's new. Um, Not the new one. Like, okay, the new one. The other one's not old. Just the second location. The first
Yeah, the newer.
location.
Yeah, the newer one.
Yeah,
Sure.
the first location is. I have people that I trust in there.
Uh-huh.
It already has its. How can I explain? Everybody's knows what they're doing right now. So
Yeah. It's
there's
set up.
it's all set up the way it's supposed to be. The second
Yeah.
location now is it's new and everybody's learning the recipes. All the chefs are learning the recipes. The servers are learning how to say and explain it. So they have a lot of questions. I got to be there.
Yeah.
It's a lot more over there in the second location because it's bigger. We have a full bar now. At the other one, it's more
Okay.
of like, in New York, the little Yitos places that we have.
Yeah.
That's how the
Yeah.
first location is. The second
Gotcha.
location is more of a sit-down restaurant and
Okay.
more, more dining. Like we have tablecloths. We're a little bit more upscale in the second location than the first location.
Right.
So it's a lot more tedious, and you just got to make sure a lot of things are on point.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just
How
a little harder than, it's more difficult.
how far away are the two?
About 20 minutes between each other.
Oh, that's
So
not that
I'm
bad.
like, I
That's
live
not
right
too
in the
bad.
middle of both of them. So I'm good.
Perfect. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because that can make it so much worse.
No, yeah. It takes me about like 40 minutes to get from one spot to the other spot. But if I'm home, it takes me 20 and then 20. So I'm good.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it's rough. So doing them both in the same day is
Well,
it's a day and a half right there.
Well, I do everything on the same day. Like
Oh
I'll
yeah,
go in
no,
the
I know.
morning to the what's it called, the first location, and then I'll
Mhm.
go later on in the afternoon to the second, or
Mhm.
I'll cover whoever's shift. Somebody's sick, I'll cover them, then run
Yeah.
back. It's just a whole craziness.
Back and forth and back and forth. So what's the next mission for you? Do you want more locations? Do you want to make them bigger instead? What are you thinking?
It all depends on what falls in my lap, or not. What falls in my lap is,
Sure.
if I find something, I'll go with it. If I don't, I'll just stay the way I am. Like it took me 6 years to find a second location.
Yeah.
I was thinking about a second location, but if I see something that is worth it, I'll do
Mhm.
it. If I,
Yeah.
it all depends on, what's the cost of rent, what's going on in that neighborhood. If I find a spot, um, do I want to grow? Yes, I want to grow,
Sure.
but I'm gonna grow realistically. I'm not just gonna run and go, okay, let me just do a third one now, or
Yeah, because that's usually how places fail. They fly too close to the sun and their wings of wax burn, as they say.
yeah.
So the most important thing you can do is just don't be afraid to look for opportunity. You know, everybody likes to say I missed my once in a lifetime opportunity. But when you're really in this lifestyle and you're looking for good things, you're thinking about positive things happening every day, you tend to find that a once in a lifetime opportunity happens about 3 or 4 times a year. you come across great things all the time, and every once in a while when you can really pick it up and say, oh, I got that one, I got that one. I might have missed the other one in hindsight, but this one I picked this one up and let's do something with it.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful thing.
my mentality is everything happens basically for a reason. That's how I see things. And if it's not meant to be, it's not going to happen. Like I was looking at another place before that and it didn't work out, and thank God it didn't work out, because I don't know where would I be if I did take that spot. But I like, that's how my mentality is. Everything happens for a reason. I just don't leave it that way, because I'm always going to get something. I'm always like, I'm a go-getter, and if there's an opportunity there and I see it, I'm going to take it. But I try not to push it, because sometimes when you push something, you don't get the result you want. So, I weigh it sometimes. Sometimes I'll jump at the opportunity if I feel it in my gut. If I don't feel it, then I'll push back. I'll just stay back and be like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's the smartest thing you can do. And honestly,
I run my
you coming
business with
from
my gut.
you have to. You have to. Your business is all about the gut too. If you can't trust your gut and what you're feeding people, man, and not for nothing, you come from a long line of entrepreneurs. So that gut instinct is in you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. What are the other mixed items on the menu? Because you have the Greek nachos, right? What else would we find at Think Greek that might not just be Greek?
Okay, so we have our feta sticks. That is a play on mozzarella sticks, but with feta.
That sounds great.
We use Mike's Hot Honey in it, and we do a play like that. Then we have what we got? We have an arancini, a spanakorizo arancini. So it's a play on a rice ball, but it's it's like a spanakopita rice ball. What else do we have? Oh, we have a chicken and waffle.
Okay.
So we deep fry a chicken souvlaki stick, and we give like a maple hot sauce with like a waffle. So
that sounds great.
yeah,
that sounds right up my alley.
We try to do things like that. We like mix it up, like we do like a Greek flatbread, like a Greek flatbread, meaning like a pizza type of flatbread. What else? We have wontons. We have at some point we were doing like a Choco Baco, we called it. So we would take our wonton wrappers, put Nutella and baklava in it, and deep fry them. Then we also have a baklava cheesecake that we make.
Hold on. Why'd you stop those?
Because people didn't see them. If they don't see it, they don't order it. Even though it's written down, the people eat with their eyes. They have to actually see pictures of it. And they see the picture, but they don't understand the whole concept of it. Because when you eat it, you're just like, oh my God. But
that makes sense.
We put that on the back burner for now. But like, we have our cheesecake, our baklava cheesecake, that nobody really has, because so some people do have it, but it's like mass produced that they get. Ours is we make our own baklava crust. We put a no-bake cheesecake in it. We actually make it. It's not like everybody else's.
Yeah, it's in-house.
In this area. I don't know about everywhere else. Yeah. But we also do a hazelnut stuffed baklava. So you see the wontons that I was doing? Now I do it. So I put like chocolate hazelnut in between the baklava and drizzle chocolate on it. So that's been a big seller now. That's something different that everybody likes. We play with different things. We just try, like, okay, one day I'm bored at work, and then I'll just start mixing things together. Like, oh, we have so we have Greek wings.
Right. Okay.
So we make like a garlic honey sauce. I
Okay.
coat them,
Mhm.
then I put feta on top, and then you have a tzatziki dipping sauce, and then I put some chives, and everybody loves them. So I'm just like,
I love them already.
I just tried, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, let's try something that people might like. So I'll think about, okay, I don't know, like a burger. And then I'll be like, okay, let me make stuff like this. And then I'll just sit there and play. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We sit there and we eat, we try it.
Mhm.
I gained a few pounds for doing that. So
You're suffering from your own success.
yeah, but, you got to practice, be perfect.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Nobody wants a rail skinny thin chef.
Yeah, I know.
Because that's telling me the food isn't that good. If you walk into the restaurant and the chef is 400 pounds and he's eating the food he's making with one hand, he's serving it with the other, you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Is there anything off menu? Like a secret menu for your friends, family, things like that?
No, only when I'm making something, and I'm trying to come up with some recipes and I have like regular customers coming into the restaurant. I'll be like, try this, let me know what you think.
Okay.
I'm playing with a recipe and they'll be like, oh, thank you. And they feel good about it because they're like, oh, she's trusting my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
So
people love that. Whenever you're bringing them, you're treating them like family in there.
Well, that's what we do. It's all that's okay. We're Greek, so we treat everybody like family. We want to feed everybody. People are like, "Oh, this is so big," and I'm like, "Yeah, but this is what we do. We feed you,
and you better finish it.
And if you don't, you're taking it home.
Yeah, or you're not welcome back." Oh man, I love it. So, is there anything you want to plug? Because we're going to start wrapping up here a little bit, I think, unless there's something else you want to talk about.
No, it's just thank you for having me here. And
no, my pleasure. So listen, for all of the people, I love your story, and I can't when you open up another one to have you back on. And Lord knows, next time I'm in Florida, I'm coming down there. Okay. So I'm gonna have to track you down to make sure I'm at the right one.
All right, no problem.
So listen, let us know the addresses of the places. Let us know how they can find you on social media. Plug yourself. Now's your time.
Okay, so we're in Port St. Lucie. It's 644 Southwest Port St. Lucie Boulevard. The one in Stewart is 6075 Southeast Federal Highway US 1 in Stewart. And we're on Facebook, Think Greek. You just find Think Greek. Same thing on Instagram, Think Greek. And our website is thinkgreekfl.com, and that's about it. We have we have also a TikTok, and it's also Think Greek. So if you search Think Greek, we should pop up on everything.
If you're thinking Greek, type in Think Greek and go get some food, man.
You go get some real good Greek food.
I can't wait. All right, everybody.
We'll see you at the restaurant one day.
Oh, you will. You will. Next time I'm in Florida, I'll make sure I go out of my way to go visit.
We're right there where the Mets spring train, so you're good to go. I don't know if you're a Met or a Yankee fan, so
I got to tell, personally, I'm not huge with sports.
Okay.
But regardless, my buddy Kenny has a house down in Florida, and he is the biggest Met fan in the world.
Oh, okay.
So I'll make sure I send him over, and I'm sure he's got to be right by there. If he was going to pick a place to have his house, it was going to be right there. Yeah. I'm sure he is. So, Stella, listen, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Everybody, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Burn the Ships with special guest, Stella Koufalis, right?
Yes, you did it right.
That's it. Take care, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.